love puppets. And I know, okay, Ashley, you're like, it's weird to say. I know that's weird to say. It's a little odd to say at first. And it's also maybe good that we're not doing this session in person because I would have to have like a whole suitcase for all the puppets I would bring. But anyway, I love using puppets in the classroom. I think they're just such a really cool and vital tool for a variety of different grades. I have not always thought this. A couple years ago, I saw a presenter using puppets at a session. It was Lynn Kleiner, if you're familiar with Lynn Kleiner at all. She's the name behind a publishing company called Music Rhapsody based in California. And she has all these really cool books and great resources. Go check out Lynn. But I saw her using puppets and I was like amazed, but I wasn't a believer. So I got one puppet and I started using it, and I started using it in all different sorts of lessons, in all different sorts of ways. And I eventually started to love it. I got another one. I got another one. Now I have a whole like a puppet tree in my classroom that holds almost all of my puppets, but not. And I just keep finding more. And the more that people know that I like puppets, the more they're like, hey, my kid had one. Do you want it? Or, my grandma taught preschool music or whatever. I keep getting more. But they're a super cool resource to have. They're super handy to have. Pun not intended, but I'm glad I said they're handy. But today I want to share some of my favorite puppets, how I use them, how you might consider using them, not necessarily for just these songs and lessons, but for all different kinds of lessons, and how you might use them in general as you teach your students. I'll say that it takes a little bit of excitement on your part. If you don't buy in, the kids won't buy in. So it's, I think, awkward for about 2 minutes when you're using a puppet for the first time. And then it gets a lot easier. And then if like another adult walks in, then it's awkward for another like 2 minutes, and then it's fine again. But puppets are so much fun to add in. I'll tell you also that in the past year and a half, I think my puppeting skills have gone up like 1,000%, because wearing a mask where kids can't actually see if my mouth is moving, they are way more invested in the idea that maybe the puppets are actually talking. So I feel like a real professional. But anyway, I want to start with one of my favorite songs that I love to teach around this time of year. And usually I teach this song with the help of my friend Skippy. And Skippy loves to try and help whenever he can. Skippy, yeah, okay. I need you to sort of focus because we're going to teach your song. But what are you who are you talking to? I'm talking to people at the conference. Where are they? I can't see. Is that them? Hello? Hello? Bima? Yeah. Sorry. Skippy gets a little bit sidetracked. Not always. Well, but anyway, so Skippy, tell the people what you've been doing the last couple of weeks. I've been very busy. I've been very busy because I've been outside looking for food. What kind of food? Well, like things I can find in the ground, nuts, fruit, whatever I can find that I think that I might eat. Okay, well, why wouldn't you go to like the grocery store and get food? That's where I go to get food. Mr. Rao, are you serious? Sorry, I'm just so used to calling myself Mr. Rao as a puppet. So sorry if I throw that out. David, no, that's weird. I can't go to the grocery store. I tried. I got kicked out 3 times. I tried different grocery stores. They wouldn't let me in. Oh, so that's really unfortunate. Yeah, so I got to find my own food. And where do you find it? Out by the trees, because the trees make your food, don't they? Yeah, but what happens to the trees at wintertime? Well, they stop making food. They stop growing. They go like dormant in the winter. And so if I really want food, I need to get it now and store it up now for when the trees are stop making food, I still have some. Yeah, okay, great. And guess what? This is my science connection. I'm just like, ooh, we're talking about habitats, and we're talking about, winter and stuff. I don't know, seasons, right? So like this is like my connection to that. But Skippy tells us, that needs food for the winter, and so you're saving it all up. And but so like when I look out the window, I'm going to see you like with a shopping cart going from like tree to tree. No, Mr. Come on. Okay, you would see me hopping around, skipping around. You probably think that I'm like out there just having fun, but I have a mission. I am looking for food. Okay, yeah, you're looking for food. Okay, great. Well, you know what? I think that we have a song about this. It's a song about Skippy the squirrel skipping around trying to get food, trying to find food. Also, over the years, it's just like not easy to set down the puppet and then pick up the puppet. So I just leave it on, and I've gotten to the point where like Skippy can play the ukulele. I've also gotten to the point where like I can like the bear will hold a pick in his mouth while he anyway, I don't know if that's like master level puppeteer, but anyway, so Skippy plays and there's a little song that goes hop hop old squirrel idle dum hop old squirrel idle dum dee hop old squirrel idle dum hop old squirrel idle dum dee. Sorry, I don't know if that messes up the levels of the sound. If you could still hear me sing while playing, I don't know. With the mic, it's a little weird. But so Skippy, we sing that song, we play that song, and Skippy teaches the kids, you know, when you see me out there hopping around, you know, it's because I'm looking for food. Yeah, it's because I'm looking for food. I'm trying to find the food that I need for the winter. And I store it away. And you store it away. Yeah. Okay, well, that's a pretty fun song. And in the song, what does it say you're doing? It says I'm hopping. Oh, well, do you think we could add that into the song? Yeah, let's do that, Mr. Wow. Let's do everybody, you're going to stand up and get, okay, you don't actually have to do this, but like my kids, like they would stand up and they would hop. Yeah, and so they're going to hop and they're going to do it while we sing. And so then the kids are, you know, hopping around as we sing the song. And then one of my favorite things is that kids always hop. They always use 2 feet, like a bunny hop. But technically, me and the PE teacher and dance teachers and whatever, if you're using like movement vocabulary, technically hopping is 1 foot and jumping is 2 feet. At least at my school, that's a delineation we make. So when we sing Hop Old Squirrel, then skipping go, Mr. Row, but wait. I see people are not hopping. They're doing something else. What are they doing? Well, I don't know, but they're using 2 feet and that's not a hop. What's a hop? 1 foot. Okay, so we need to try again. Yeah, and this time you got to use 1 foot. So you're going to go, okay, it's hard to show that with a puppet because their legs don't really, but the 1 foot, right? Okay, so Skippy can be there to like, instead of me saying, okay, everyone, it's not 2 feet, it's 1 foot, which like, okay, I could make that correction. It's not a really big deal. But if Skippy says it, the kids are like way more apt to make that change. They don't mind. So Skippy can be there to point out things that maybe I need pointed out. Okay, great. Well, but we did the hop. So let's pretend we did the hopping, right? The hopping went really great. Yeah, it was great. Okay, and now what? Well, now, I don't want to hop anymore. I'm tired of hopping. What could we do instead? We could jump. They showed me they could jump because they did 2 feet. So like we could change the word. Yeah, and it would go jump old squirrel, idle-dum, jump old squirrel. We change it to jump. Oh, we change it to jump, and then we'd have to change the action too, wouldn't we? Okay, great. Sorry. I jumped out of the key. Jump, old squirrel, idle-dum, jump, old squirrel, idle-dum, dee. Jump, old squirrel, idle-dum, jump, old squirrel, idle-dum, dee. Yeah, that's great, but Mr. Brown, what if we didn't want to jump or hop? Well, what could we do instead? Well, my name is Skippy, so we could skip. Let's skip. Okay, and then this is like hopping and jumping kids can do in place. So when you get to the skipping aspect, then this is my chance to like say like, okay, when we're skipping, you don't want to run into anyone. You don't want to like hit somebody as you're going through the room. So then this is like my chance to sort of talk about like how we move safely through the room if we're doing now a locomotor action. And so we talk about that and then we sing it. And we do it. Skip old squirrel, idle-dum, skip old squirrel, idle-dum, dee. Obviously, I'm playing, the kids are moving, right? And then, well, what else can we do, Skippy? We've already did hop and jump and skip. What else can we do? I don't know, I'm a squirrel. I only have so many ideas. But what else could we do? Does anybody else have an idea of something that we could do? And so then Skippy will ask, and then Skippy will interact with the kids, and then let the kids come up with a different action. Yeah, and the kids get to choose, and even if it's crazy, we do it. Yeah, if it's crazy, we do it. Actually, crazy is good. I like crazy. Yeah, I believe that. So after a while, usually we have kids come up with a couple different options, and then I like to put up, whether it's printed on an actual bulletin board or if it's just projected up on my whiteboard, I like to put up movement words for kids, like a sort of a movement word wall. And I do that because there are sometimes kids will be happy to participate, happy to give answers. But if you give them like a word bank or a word wall, vocabulary wall, they're more apt to participate if they're like one of those quiet learners or maybe an English language learner or more tentative. If you give them examples of like, if you say anything from this wall, you're going to be correct. If you give them options to choose from, they're more likely to participate. So especially like my first school, I had 87% of our school was English language learners. I realized if I put up that word wall on the wall, kids would go up and would point. And even if they didn't feel comfortable pronouncing or saying the word, they could point to it. They could still make that choice for us, and then we could go forward. So even if you don't have English language learners or whatever, it's good to have a word wall up there to give kids options. And I put a word wall in the downloads folder. So if you don't already have one, now you do. And you can go and print that off and use that if you want. If I forgot to put that in there, I'm going to check later, but I'm pretty sure I already put that in there, or otherwise it's on my to-do list. But it's there if you want it. And that's nice too, because then kids can work out things, and has things that maybe they wouldn't normally choose. Kids will choose skip, jump, walk, stomp, right? But this one also has words like slither and slide and prance, and it has all different kinds of words to get kids moving, and locomotor and non-locomotor words. And that's another conversation that Skippy and I have. Mr. Rao, yeah, I noticed some of the words are yellow and some are green. Yeah, some are yellow and some are green. Why? Well, look at the words. What do you notice? Okay, some on this side are yellow and some on this side are green. Yeah, that's right. But did you see at the very bottom it says the yellow ones, it says locomotor, and the green one says non-locomotor. What does that mean? Well, locomotor means like we're moving through this space, like we're moving to a new place, and we're like leaving our spot to go somewhere. And then non-locomotor means that we're going to just stay in our spot. We're not going to move through the room. So locomotor means we move to a new place, and not locomotor means that we don't, like we stay where we are. Yeah, but it's not, you said not locomotor. It's non-locomotor. Not locomotor. No, non-locomotor. Not locomotor. No, non-locomotor. What does non-locomotor mean? Well, it means, okay, it means not locomotor, but it's pronounced non-locomotor. Non locomotor. Okay, great. So like that's another moment where like I can use Skippy to sort of explain to kids a concept so that they understand it. It's sort of funny for them, but then they get it. And then they can also like maybe resonate with Skippy, like, I didn't know what that means. So like they find a friend in Skippy, but he helps to explain away a concept that I maybe want to make sure that we talk about. If a kid doesn't bring it up, Skippy can bring it up. And that's one of the things I love about puppets. And I sort of talk about this later in the notes, but like, if you've ever read Sherlock Holmes, or if you're familiar with the story, if you didn't have Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes would be super boring, because Sherlock Holmes would go in and be like, I've solved it. End of story. Right. But he needs Dr. Watson to be there like, how? Like, how did you solve it by just what you see here? Well, let me tell you, I noticed that blah, blah, blah. And so like the puppet can be here to be like, wait, I have a question to clarify. I have a question. Yeah. And so then like the puppet can be like the Dr. Watson to your Sherlock Holmes. They can be there to ask questions that are important that'll sort of take you to a new place. And this is just one example. I love using this one in the fall. Having Skippy is great, because then Skippy can, here for Hop Old Squirrel, there's a song called Let Us Chase the Squirrel. If you have a song about acorns, you have a song about fall, or any sort of thing that's happening in your yard or the forest, you can use your squirrel puppet for that. There are a lot of different kinds of squirrel puppet. I really like this one. I think I put in the notes, it's called the Red Squirrel by a brand called Folkmanis. Folkmanis puppets are amazing. They've been around for a long time. Use whatever puppets you want. I just will tell you that Folkmanis ones have lots of really cool detail to them, and they're super well made. They're a little bit more expensive than some others out there. Not crazy, but they will last you forever. And I know that because I've had people hand me down puppets. They're like, I used them in my classroom for 20 years, and now it's yours. And I'm still using it. So anyway, they're really cool. If you want to look for puppets, you can find them sort of all over. The Folkmanis brand you can find on Amazon. You can find on their website. You can usually find it in stores like Barnes & Noble, or anything where there's like storytelling. Or lots of bookstores have them, children's bookstores. Also, a lot of music websites, like music education websites, will have some kind of puppet. But it's really, you can also find them on eBay. If you ask around, a lot of times people have them or be willing to share them. So there are a lot of places you can find them. But the internet, they're everywhere. But like I said, if you're traveling, you go to a bookstore, you go somewhere, see what you find. I have a friend in Texas who every time she goes to a thrift store, like a Goodwill or a whatever, she always finds one or two, and she'll send me a photo. And I was like, that one's $40 online. How did you get it for $1.99? I don't know. She just finds them. So once you start looking, you're going to start finding, and they're there. They're sort of cool to use. So talking about puppets, Skippy is really cool because he's versatile. You can use him for specific songs like Hop Old Squirrel, Let Us Chase the Squirrel. You can also use it for anything in the forest, anything in the yard, anything that you think relates to where a squirrel might live. And so I love pulling them out this time of year because fall kids like understand. So they see the squirrels running around. They get it. That's a great connection for them. There are lots of other puppets that I want to share that are sort of like great versatile puppets that are cool to have. This is another one of my friends. His name is her name is Tabby. Yeah, I'm Tabby. And so anyway, Tabby, can we tell them what you love to do? Tabby, can we tell them what you love to do? This again. This again. Okay, Tabby, you really need to stop. Tabby, you really need to stop. I'm in the middle of something. Can you stop? I'm in the middle of something. Can you stop? Okay, stop. Seriously. Okay, stop. Seriously. Okay, so Tabby knows. Okay, so Tabby knows if I've asked her to stop. If I've asked her to stop and she doesn't stop, then she owes me all her snacks. Then she owes me all. Wait, what? Yeah, I've told you if you keep copying me when you have told you to stop, you're going to owe me your snacks. I don't want to lose my snacks. Okay, well, then you need to stop copying me. Then you need to. Okay, fine. I won't copy you. Great. So anyway, Tabby comes around and helps me introduce this poem I use with kindergarten first and second. And the poem goes, copycat, copycat, 1, 2, 3, do what I do after me. Anything I do, you do the same. That's how you play the copycat game. And of course, when I teach that to kids, I teach them like this. Copycat, copycat, 1, 2, 3. Copycat, copycat, 1, 2, 3. Do what I do after me. Do what I do after me. So this is a chance for like, as I'm teaching an echo thing, they can always do it with the puppet. So, as teachers, a lot of times we're like, I'll go, you go. Well, this is a really easy one. Like, I'll go, and then you and Tabby can say your part together. Like it's a really easy way for them to copy. Even if you're not actually saying the words, even if Tabby's just going, they know that like that's their cue, that's their turn. So it's really great if you're teaching echo songs, if you're doing something back and forth, to have a puppet that sort of embodies that. The copycat poem is something that we use for a good portion of the year. I have not started using it again this year, but kids have been asking. They're like, when am I going to see Tabby again? I was like, later, because I got sort of burnt out on it. But I use the copycat poem as like the first poem of the day. And the way I use it is like we say the poem and we sort of have a rondo form where we say the poem is the A, and then a B would be, maybe I clap some rhythmic patterns and kids clap back, they echo back. And then we do the poem. And then maybe we do like a vocal exploration and they clap so I go, ooh, and they go, ooh, and then we do the poem. And then maybe we do some sort of body percussion, or we do something else where it's like a back and forth. And we do that 2 or 3 times so that, at the beginning of my lesson, the copycat of like, I do it, they copy, it makes it really easy for them to get some imitation in there. So we might usually at the beginning of class, we'll do like rhythmic imitation, body percussion, some sort of singing, maybe solfege. But the copycat poem makes that really easy. And then having Tabby there to lead it makes it also really easy. Tabby's also fun because I use her for anything like in the house, anything in like, you could use it for like around the barnyard, around the farm. Tabby can be sort of an all-purpose take you there puppet for anything sort of domestic like that if you want. Or anything cat related, right? Yeah, anything cat related. I'm good for that. Okay, great. And Tabby's really pretty easy to use. This puppet is not super expensive and pretty easy to manipulate. Some of them are a little bit trickier, but I just have my fingers working her hands and then my pointer and middle finger using her mouth. But some, you don't even need the ones that move their mouth to make the puppet really exciting. A great example of that is Peter the rabbit. And Peter does not have, I don't know if you can see that, Peter does not have a mouth that moves, but Peter can still be pretty sentient and can still be pretty present. Yes, it can. I love to tell kids all of the things that I do in the yard. Yeah, and where else? The garden. Where else? In my nest and stuff when I'm sleeping and tired, I can tell all the kids about all of that. All it really takes, even if the mouth of the puppet doesn't move, it just takes you like focusing on the puppet and like pretending to listen. Like I find that if I just like look at the kids and the puppet is going, they'll buy in. But like if I'm interested, they don't look at me anymore. They look at the puppet, which I think is hilarious. And so I know that many of them know the puppet isn't real, but they'll still follow along. They'll be there for it. So the more that like you can gravitate your attention towards the puppet, the more that they're like there for it. So Peter is a great puppet. Peter's the first puppet I ever purchased. And I like Peter because of a couple reasons. Bunnies are sort of everywhere. I use Peter all throughout when I've taught in the United States, the Midwest, in Michigan, in the South. Kids can relate to a bunny. They understand that. A bunny is also non-threatening. There are other puppets I've used, like some kids are really scared of owls. Some kids are really scared of like big cats, like lions or jaguars or cougars or whatever. But a bunny is really non-threatening, and it's sort of everywhere. Kids see it, they understand the concept, so they're okay with the animal, and they're also okay with the puppet. So Peter is also cool because Peter's versatile. So using Peter for anything about the garden, anything about the forest, anything where you're trying to talk to another animal, Peter's a great animal to do that. Also, I am not adventurous with my puppets. I name the most boring names. Like, I know people who are like, I've got Wolfgang, the bunny, and also Ludwig, the squirrel. Like, I don't do that because I will forget. And so I call my squirrel Skippy, and my cat is Tabby, and my bunny is Peter, because I'll remember Peter Rabbit. I'm not cool and adventurous. I won't remember that. So I'm just giving myself names that are easy to remember. So of course, then if we're doing, I saw a little rabbit go hop, hop, hop. Peter will lead us there. Mr. Rabbit, your ears are mighty long. Peter's going to lead us there. Anything that's sort of rabbit related, barnyard related, Peter's there. I also I think it's good to have one animal on land, on sea, on sky. So I have a bunch that are good for like the mountains, the forest, the barnyard. I also have a couple little friends who will take us into the ocean. And so like Larry the Lobster is one of my favorites. This little puppet is not a Folkmanis brand. I think it's maybe the Puppet Company brand, but I love this one because he's so small and so cute. And his claws can move around. And so this Larry the Lobster, when I'm teaching steady beat to my youngest kids, Larry loves to take them and teach them. So if we're doing a steady beat with both our hands, Larry, can you show us? Yeah, a steady beat. It doesn't speed up. It doesn't slow down. It stays the same, right? Can you show us another steady beat, but this time do a fast one? And my kids can match that. They can use their hands on their knees. They can do that. What if you didn't do your hands together? What if you did hands separate? And because the claws can move separately, that's really fun and easy to do. I also like Larry because it's just one hand. It's not two hands. It doesn't involve a lot. So it's pretty easy to use. I talked about Lynn Kleiner earlier, about how I learned about puppets from her. She has a book called SOS Songs of the Sea. And there's a song in there called Larry the Lobster. And I love using it with steady beat because it goes, Larry the Lobster, swimming in the sand all day, or swimming through the sea all day. Oh, what a guy, Larry the Lobster, swimming along his way. And it's this fun little A section for the song where you get to keep a steady beat. And then along comes some sort of predator. So there's a shark, or there's a big fish, or there's someone with a net who's there to try and catch Larry. And so then you can have, your good steady beat section. And then there's the run, Larry, run, hide in the water, run, Larry, run for your life. And so the kids love that because they have the section with the steady beat, and then they get to like go crazy and be fast. And they think that's hilarious. So Larry's a great example for that. Larry also doesn't talk, which I think is fine for puppets. Larry, if Larry does talk, will just talk just to me. Yeah. And so then if you're like, oh, well, I want to use a puppet, but what if like the kids don't buy in that, I'm talking, it's not the puppet talking. The puppet doesn't have to talk. The puppet can just be animated and do its own thing. And you can be like its interpreter. You can be there to say, well, Larry told me that Larry, and so Larry's a great example of something you can take into the ocean with you. And that song, Larry the Lobster, is just like a super easy song to add in. I also have a song I'll share with you a little bit later that, I hope we'll get there, that uses my friend Ollie the octopus. But I think that if you can find one puppet that you really like that's like ocean related or ocean adjacent, or a crab or something, or if you find one that's good for like the mountains, one that's good for flying, it's great to have those there, and they can sort of take you through any song or lesson that you want. Okay, so another example of using a puppet and sort of having them involved is, I have another cat here. This is my cat Fluffy. And Fluffy is a little bit of a menace and sort of having a day, aren't you, Fluffy? You just need to fix your fur here. Mr. Brown, stop! Sorry. I am on camera, stop! I already fixed my hair. Okay, anyway, I'm so glad to be here. And I'm here to tell you a story. I think I'm the one here to tell them a story. It's about the other day when you're in my classroom. No, 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 no. Don't tell them that story. No, that I'm going to tell them that story. No, 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 no. I have a different story. One day I was out shooting a movie and I was very busy. You were not shooting a movie. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the other day. We're at my classroom and I had been teaching all morning and I went down to the office because I had to make some copies or something. And I came back. And when I came back, I heard, you heard nothing. Nothing was wrong. Everything was fine. End of story. Great times. Okay, so anyway, this movie I was shooting. No. So I heard the sound of something coming from behind my desk. And I went and I looked and I saw, well, someone was in my lunch bag. I don't know what you're talking about. Someone was in my lunch bag. And then when I pulled you out of the lunch bag, I was not in the lunch bag. I'm being framed. No, when I pulled you out of the lunch bag, half my lunch was missing. But I would never eat your lunch. I only eat my own foods. No, that's not true. You don't like your kibble. Yeah, kibble's gross. But anyway, so half of my Cheetos were gone and there was like cheese missing, but like all the carrots were there. Carrots are gross. Yeah. And then part of my sandwich was missing. And I know that you had eaten that. How? How do you know? Where is the proof? Do you have a video? Well, I pulled you out of my lunch bag, but like, how do you know? How do I know? Well, it was your favorite kind of sandwich. I don't like sandwiches. Yes, you do. And this one had obviously bread and cheese. Love cheese. And it had lettuce. Yeah, nobody ate the lettuce. The lettuce was still there. And then there was like ham, not turkey. Oh, turkey. Okay, so there was turkey and cheese. And then I had put like, I had put some mayonnaise on there. No. What do you mean no? No, no, no. I have a very refined palate and I know the difference between butter and mayonnaise. And that was not mayonnaise. It was butter. And I know. Oh, no. Oh, no. I have given myself away. I had proved that I was actually the one. Yeah, I know. You proved that you were the one. Anyway, so I wrote this little song. And it goes like this. It goes, oops. Who's my ukulele? It goes, naughty kitty cat. You are very fat. You have butter on your whiskers, naughty kitty cat. I do not like this song. Yeah, I'm sorry if you don't like the song, but it's the story of what really happened. Well, I disagree. You can disagree all you want, but it's truly what happened. I want to add my own part to the song. You want to add something to the song? Mm-hmm. Okay, sing it again. I'm going to add my part. Okay. Naughty kitty cat. Meow. You are very fat. Meow. You have butter on your whiskers, naughty kitty cat. Meow. So Fluffy's added her own part to the song. And eventually, like the kids, like they're giggling. They think this is hilarious. And so I let them do Fluffy's part with Fluffy. So when we get to the meows, the kids get to do it. Naughty kitty cat. Meow. You are very fat. Meow. You have butter on your whiskers, naughty kitty cat. Meow. And the kids think that's so much fun. They do the meows. It's really easy for them to pick up. We do it 3 or 4 more times, maybe. I don't know. Fluffy and I might have a little chat in between singing just to keep the kids excited and interested. And then I see if the kids can maybe do my part of the song. No, 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 no. They don't want to do that. They want to do the cat part. They don't want to do your part. Your part is the boring part. No, I think that they might like that. No, no, no. Don't do the cat. Don't do the Mr. Rob part. Do the cat part only. And she tries to coerce them. And so then they do my part. They get to be Mr. Row and they get to sing, naughty kitty cat, meow. Yeah, and so Fluffy reacts to them. They think that's hilarious. It eventually becomes a game where we sit in a big sort of a class circle. That first day, it might just be a story back and forth where we talk to Fluffy and learn the process. The next day, we might come in, make a big class-sized circle, and then there are a couple different ways you can play the game. You can either do it Duck, Duck, Goose style, where on the last word, naughty kitty cat, meow, that last meow, whoever's walking around the circle gets to tap someone on the head and then run, and then that kid has to try and chase them, sort of like Duck, Duck, Goose. That's really easy. There's another version where all the kids in the circle stand, they hold hands, and there's one kid in the middle of the circle, Fluffy, and there's one person walking on the outside of the circle, Mr. Row, who I'm trying to get to Fluffy. And the kids in the circle, they hold hands. At the end of the song, you have butter on your whiskers, naughty kitty cat. Everyone raises up their arms. And the kid in the middle, the Fluffy, gets to choose a door to walk through. So like everybody has their hands up, right? And he gets to that kid gets to walk under one of those archways. And then when they do that, all the other archways close except the one that Fluffy wants to go through. And then there's a chase around the circle to get around the circle and back through that one open door before Mr. Rao catches them. So it's this fun sort of like it's like a more advanced version of that chase game. I have both of them in the notes. I have both of the games sort of written out about how you might do it. There's the simple version and then the complex version that gives a little bit more information about that. But then the next thing is that usually after that, once the kids have done their chase once, I let them choose their replacement. So if you're the kid who was the Fluffy in the middle of the circle, or if you're the Mr. Rao character, you get to choose your replacements. And then those kids who had already been playing get to go to the instruments. I set my instruments in do pentatonic on C, so it takes off the Fs and the Bs. So it sets up a pentatonic scale basically. And what I have my kids do is that on any of the meows, they can play. So let me show you sort of what that's like. I happen to have a xylophone here. Okay, so I take off the Fs and the Bs. That means that anything my kids play is going to sound like it fits in with the song. So, naughty kitty cat, you are very fat. You have butter on your whiskers, naughty kitty cat. They can play on any of the meows. They're already ready to do it because they know right where the meows go in the song. They're happy to do it. I usually set up just my glockenspiels, but you could do whatever instrument you want. As long as you take off Fs and Bs, you're not going to have a tritone. You're not going to have a seventh tone. So it's going to sound like it fits in with the key. And I usually have kids play like once or twice through the song, and then they get replaced. So it's just however you want to do that if you're interested in that. But that's another one that's really easy because the kids know right where that meow is because they learned it as a separate part, as Fluffy's part, and then it's easy to add in that instrument exploration. And then when kids are running around the circle, you can have them run up and down the bars if you want. It's just a fun little easy addition. But Fluffy leading the story makes it feel very real. I mean, you could do that with like a clip art cut out of a cat. You could do something like that. But Fluffy can actually give a rebuttal or can like lead the kids like, you don't want to do Mr. Rob Part. You just want to do the meows of Fluffy. So like Fluffy can add a lot more. I could still do this with my Tabby puppet. I could do that, but I happen to have like the huge... And something about this huge cat with the crazy hair, kids think is hilarious. So they're down for it. But Fluffy comes back to tell other stories. Fluffy is involved in other things. In the household, talking about dogs, eating, whatever you want. I know some people who've modified the song and have done, instead of naughty kitty cat, you are very fat, they've done like naughty kitty cat, why did you do that? You can change that if you wanted to take that part out of the song or change the lyrics a little bit. So I use puppets to tell stories all the time, whether or not they're actually in the story. Like Fluffy's a great example. There is a cat in the song, right? But then I also use animals to teach other songs. Like if we're in the forest or whatever, or we're in the ocean, whether or not there's actually that animal involved, that animal can say the other day I was walking by the stream and I noticed that there was a whatever, they can say I was there in the forest and I saw such a thing happen. So they can sort of be your narrator, be your guide, even if they're not actually in the story. But sometimes I have puppets come out and give new information. It's maybe not just a story. Maybe they're there to tell us something or teach us something. My favorite example of that is when I teach my kindergartners about the 4 vocal timbres, the 4 voices. And I have Peter come out yet again, and Peter tells them, well, okay, I don't know if you knew this, but you have 4 voices. No, we actually just have one voice, our own voice. Yeah, but you can use it 4 different ways. So even though it's you're still your same voice, we call it your 4 different voices. Okay, and do you know what the 4 voices are? Of course, that's what I'm here to teach. So I'm here to tell you there are 4 voices. There's the speaking voice, the whisper voice, the singing voice, and the shouting voice. Okay, great. But the best of them is the speaking voice. What do you mean the best of them? But it's the best one. Why? Because you can use it anywhere. I can use my speaking voice at the grocery store or in the library. I can use it when I'm walking to school. I can use it with my parents. I can use it with my friends. I can use my speaking voice anywhere I want. Oh, that's really great. Yeah, and it's so great because you could use it with poems, and you can use it at the movie theater, and you can use it when you're trying to tell someone a story, and you can do a quiet speaking voice or a loud speaking voice, but there are all different kinds of speaking voice. That's why speaking voice is the best. Okay, great. So you love to give examples about where you can use the speaking voice. Of course, which is everywhere, because speaking voice is the best. I see. I understand. And in fact, actually, Mr. Rao, I wrote a poem. Would you like to hear my poem? Oh, you wrote a poem, which you can use your speaking voice because speaking is what we use for poetry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, the poem goes like this. It goes, speaking voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. Okay, I don't know. I don't know about that because I really like my singing voice. But I guess you could, if your opinion is that you like speaking voice the best, that's okay. It's not an opinion, it's a fact because speaking voice is the best because you can use it everywhere, but it's the best of all of them. Anyway, listen again. It goes, speaking voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. Okay, so again, you think speaking voice the best. No, 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 not I think. Everyone thinks because speaking voice really is the best of all of the voices. Anyway, let me teach you the poem. So then Peter teaches them the poem, right? And then Peter says, okay, but kindergarten, guess what? Next time you come to class, you might meet somebody else and they might tell you that their voice is a better voice, and it is not, because we have learned today conclusively speaking voice is the best. So if you meet somebody else and they say their voice is better, you know what you're going to say to them? What are we going to say to them? If someone else says like, oh, like whisper voices are great, you're going to go, speaking voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. And you're going to tell them what I taught you today. Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to do. You will, because that's the truth and it's the poem. And now you know. Okay, so anyway, so then the next time kids come to class, they do meet another friend, but this is one that we have to be very careful around because this friend can get a little scared. And she's actually usually sitting off in the back of the room or something, and I bring her over and I say we have to be very quiet around this friend because she gets very easily scared. And so, the whole time, I don't know if you can hear it in the microphone, so I'm going to stop whispering, but I whisper basically the whole time. Flitter comes over and teaches us about a different voice you have to use. It's called your whisper voice, and you have to use it to be very quiet. We talk about where you can use it. You can use it if someone's asleep, if you want to tell just one person something. I don't like to say secrets because I don't try and encourage secrets in a public school, but we talk about if you're going to be very quiet, if you just want one person to hear, you can use your whisper voice. Maybe your little brother fell asleep, you don't want to wake him up, or maybe your dad fell asleep, you don't want to wake him up. You can use this voice, it's very quiet. And so anyway, they understand the concept of if you're too loud or too rambunctious around like a butterfly or another wild animal, it'll fly off. And so we use that sort of idea, and then Flitter eventually teaches us a poem. The other day, I was asleep on a tulip, and I woke up and I wrote a poem. You wrote a poem? Yes. And it goes like this. Whisper voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. Ah. Okay, that sounds suspiciously like Peter's poem. No, no, no. I wrote it just the other day while I was asleep on a daffodil. I thought it was a tulip. Whatever. Anyway, whisper voice is the best. So then, she teaches us the poem that she wrote. And then again, we move on. The next time kids come, we get to meet another friend. And this friend is usually sitting up on top of a cabinet, and she's asleep up there. Sorry. And I go over and I say, I'm so excited for this friend. And I say, Snowy, whoo, Snowy, whoo. Do you want to come and meet the kindergartners? Whoo, the kindergartners. It's the kindergartners. They're here right now. Who? The kindergarten. Snowy, I think it's Miss Peterson's class. It's Miss Peterson's class. Who? Snowy, I'm telling you, it's Miss Peterson's class. Who? I don't know why she doesn't understand, because I keep telling her who it is. And then if the kids don't say anything, eventually Snowy will say, Mr. Rao, in owl language, who means yes. Oh, so when you're saying who, you actually mean yes. Who? You, Snowy. No, who means yes. Oh, right. Okay. Do you want to come meet the kindergartners? Who? Mrs. Peterson's class. I already told you that. Mr. Rao, who means yes? Okay, right. So anyway, so Snowy's up on her thing, and then when she comes down to meet us, she does this. Woo, 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 woo. Obviously, in my little office, it's not as effective as when I'm walking around my classroom, right? But she goes up and high and low, and I just do a vocal glide as she flies up and then lands on my hand. And this is a really cool puppet. This is why I like Folk Manus brand. So a couple cool things about this. Snowy, you can't see it, but has white Velcro on her wings. So if I Velcro her together, her wings will stay together and they won't fly apart. They also can flap and fly, right? But her wings will stay closed. The other cool thing is, you can't really see this, but inside the owl, there's a joystick. So I can move her head around if I need it to. So if I'm talking to Snowy, she can turn and look at me, or she can look at kids. And I've gotten pretty good and nuanced with this. So if I want to, I can have her do other things. it's just you get it and you use it like for one class and you're like, I am a professional puppeteer. And anyway, but they make it really easy. There's some really cool things you can do. So anyway, Snowy comes and teaches us all about our new voice, our singing voice. And where do you use that voice? Oh, I use my singing voice. I use it in the music room. I use it with my family. I use it in the car. And what does it sound like? I use my singing voice when I'm going places. I use my singing voice today. When did you use it? Well, when you all came into the classroom, we sang our song that went, choo-choo train, copy B and do the same. Choo-choo train, woo, woo, stop. That was your singing voice. Did you know that? We were already using it today. Oh, that's wonderful. And so then Snowy teaches us a song that she wrote. Oh, I did. I wrote it just the other day. And okay, Snowy also tells us that she's nocturnal. So we get into that for like 2 seconds. My kindergartners have, that's something they like learn about the time that we do. So we talk about different animals that are nocturnal. And she says she knows a raccoon and she knows a bat. She knows whatever. Anyway, so when did you write this song? Well, just the other day with Barry the Bat. We were having a nighttime snack, and then I decided to write a song, not a poem. Poem is your speaking voice, but I used a song so I could use my singing voice. Oh, great. How's the song go? It goes like this. Singing voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. That sounds oddly familiar. No. It's brand new. I wrote it just the other night with Barry. Did you not hear that part? I did hear that part, but it sounds like a poem that Peter taught us. Well, it can't be because Peter teaches the poems, which is your speaking voice, and this is your singing voice, so obviously very different. Okay, so how's it go again? Singing voice is the best. It's better than all the rest. Okay, that's suspicious. But anyway, okay, so then she sings it with the kids, and then Snowy says, okay, Miss Rowe, you show us your singing voice. Okay, great. Well, actually, why don't we do that thing where like we sing back and forth? Oh, yes. Because you know owls, owl language, we say who, and who means like yes, and it also means hello, and it means hi. You can use who for a lot of things, but also who means like who are you, right? So watch this. I'm going to sing to mess around. I'm going to go, who are you? Because I want to like know his name, and then he gets to go like, Mr. Rao, and then he'll sing his name back to me. Watch this. Who are you? Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao, that was not your singing voice. That was your speaking voice. That was an accident. I think that was an accident. We'll try it again. Who are you? Mr. Rao. No, Mr. Rao, that was your whisper voice. We're using our singing voice. Try again. He'll try again. That was an accident. He'll try again. Who are you? Mr. Rao. No! You should be like, Mr. Rao, with your singing voice. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? I'm not doing this on purpose. Okay, we're going to try one more time. Who are you? Mr. Rao. Oh, that was much better. So then we model, right? The two of us model, and then Snowy flies around, and each kid, because it's early in the year, I'm still learning names. She flies around to each kid, and she lands right in front of them, and she sings to each kid, and then they get to sing their name to her, and she'll sing it back. So like if the kid goes, Brayden, she'll go, Brayden, and she'll sing it back to them. That's cool for a couple reasons. It gives kids a chance to sing a solo. It gives them a chance to sing their name, which again, it's like they should be comfortable with their name. But also if they don't use their singing voice, she can model back in their singing voice, or she can be there to sort of copy and see what they do. So if the kid sort of veers off into a different key, she can sing with them so that they can hear her singing the way they sing. So Snowy's really cool to be able to do that. One of the things I found is that there are a lot of kids who like, if they're scared or they're nervous, they may not sing or interact with me, but they will sometimes sing or interact with a puppet, which is like so frustrating and crazy because like I am the puppet, like I am, but like they're comfortable with it because the puppet looks and feels like a stuffed animal a lot of the time. So a lot of times they're okay talking to a puppet or singing to a puppet. When we do Who Are You, Snowy will do this. She'll sing Who Are You? The kid will sing back and she'll go like, Brayden. And then as an encouragement, she'll go like, high five, or fist bump, or great big hug. And so the kids love, they get to interact with the puppet, and she gives them a little bit of encouragement, but also is like fun and fluffy and easy and sort of funny. And so they like interacting with her. And the last one that we meet, because we have our fourth voice, is our shouting voice, which our friend Grizzly gets to teach us. And I always warn kids, Grizzly, he gets very excited. He's a nice bear. I promise he's a very nice bear, but he just gets a little bit excited. And so we got to be a little bit careful. Hey, Grizzly. Yeah. Okay, so I want you to talk to the kindergartners, but if you could just be really careful, because I just don't want you to get too excited and scare any of them for anything, because they know that you're a really nice bear, but just gotta be a little bit more control. Okay, I'll be in control. Okay, great. So anyway, kindergarten, this is my friend Grizzly. Hello! Okay, so Grizzly, that was too loud. I'm just here to tell you about a voice. I'm very excited to be here. Okay, Grizzly, got to tone it down. Tone it down. Yeah, anyway, so Grizzly, what are you here to tell us about? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm here to tell. Sometimes I lose control of my emotions. Does anybody here ever do that? And the kindergarten can relate to that, right? So anyway, I was so excited to tell you about this very exciting voice, because this voice is also very loud, and I like being loud. Grizzly, you can't be loud right now. Sorry. We're in school, and so you can't be too loud. But I want to tell them about this voice. It's the voice where you get to be loud. Well, where do you use that voice? Well, you use it outside, or you can use it in the gym if you have permission, or you can use it inside if it's an emergency. And this is fun, because then we can talk about what actually is an emergency. Is my shoe untied? Is that an emergency? No. But you can talk about, where would you use your shouting voice? And then Grizzly goes, hey, Mr. Brown. Yeah. Can I tell them the name of the voice? Yeah, you can tell them the name of the voice. It's called your Grizzly. Where do you use the voice again? Outside, or in the gym with permission, or inside with emergency. Is it emergency? Is it an emergency right now? No. Well, then can you use this voice to say the name of the voice? Hey, I was going to use that voice, and now you're saying I can't? No, you can't right now. Okay, this voice is very loud. It's called your Grizzly. No, you can't use that voice in here. Sorry. Can you use your speaking voice to tell us the name of it? I suppose. Anyway, we go through, and he ends up tricking us, and he ends up getting the kids to shout it. He's like, Mr. O, what's that over there? What do you mean? Okay, here's what we're going to do. When Mr. O turns around, we're going to go, shouting voice! And he won't even know what's happening, because I'm the one telling you. Are you ready? Okay, so that's sort of what we do with the kids. And they get a shout. And then he does the poem, Shouting Voice is the Best. It's one of my kids' favorite things. Grizzly comes back. There's a song called Grizzly Bear. Oh, Grizzly Bear was sleeping in a cave. He can come out and do that. Anything. The bear went over the mountain. You can do any sort of song you want. Anything. Grizzly also comes out, and when he comes out to talk to my kids and teach the Grizzly Bear song, he compares and contrasts with Skippy. Skippy is saving up food for the winter, but Grizzly is saving up food in a different way when he goes to hibernate. So we talk a little bit about that. Science connection. Anyway, but the bear is sort of there. You can use the bear for anything mountain, anything forest. There are a lot of different ways that you can use the bear. And that's just one concept. That's just the 4 voices, but I love using puppets to do that. So a couple more quick puppet things, then I'm going to show you my friend Ollie if I have time. English language learners especially benefit from this. One of the things I learned when I got training for that, I'm certified technically to teach English language learners, but I would rather stick with music. But what I learned is that when you have examples, like tangible examples of different vocabulary, that's really helpful, which is why when you're teaching English language learners, it's really great to have like pictures or clip art or things that represent what you're talking about. So if you're saying an apple, to have an actual apple or to have a picture of an apple or a clip art of an apple is really helpful for them to connect that word to the concept that maybe they already know. Puppets are great for that, because then you actually have a physical, tangible example of that thing in the room. And then the puppet can help lead and give them an example. English language learners, and not just ELL students, but like lots of different students, also can get nervous or anxious, especially kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So to have a puppet that's there that sort of lowers the affective filter, is what you say in English language learner land. But like if you lower that filter, like lower the stress level and let them just enjoy and have fun, then that puppet can sort of lead and teach them when maybe they might be stressed out otherwise. The puppet is great to ask questions for you, to ask clarifying questions, to be there to sort of like, if you need the lesson to go a certain way, but you don't want to be like, okay, well, now we're going to talk about this other thing. The puppet can sort of like ask a question or lead us in or tell a story that takes you there. So it's great for like shaping the lesson or making the content go to the place where you want it to. I already mentioned the Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes thing, but that's a great example of like the puppet can ask clarifying questions. And sort of help you out with that. I also didn't put this in the notes, but it's great for classroom management. A lot of times, if you have a kid who's doing something, if you call them out in front of the rest of the class, they will remember that. It's like a zap, right? But like if a kid is doing something that's really rambunctious or crazy, Grizzly's a great example. Like if a kid is being too loud, okay, I wasn't tell you, Grizzly, sorry, we can't use that voice inside because if it gets too loud, like people might think there's an emergency or a problem or something. Oh, sorry. Sometimes I lose control of my emotions. I don't mean to. I know you don't mean to. And that's why I just wanted to remind you, like, we got to keep our voice a little bit quieter. I'm zapping Grizzly. I'm having this conversation with Grizzly. I'm reasoning out why I want him to be quieter. And so if a kid is listening in, they can relate. Oh, I also lose control of my emotions sometimes, right? But then I'm not zapping the kid. I'm zapping Grizzly. So they get they understand the redirect, but it's not directed right at them in front of all their peers. So puppets are great to be able to do that, especially if like you have finger puppets. Like if you're doing something with a finger puppet, right? And the finger puppet or the kid is acting crazy, you can go over and say, oh my goodness, is the Robin doing that? Is the Robin being so crazy right now? Robin, you need to be really in control because if you can't be in control, I can't let you work with David. If you can't be in control of your emotions right now, then I'm going to have to make you go sit out by yourself. If the kid is acting crazy and I talk to the puppet and like give that redirect, the kid knows like I gotta clean this up, otherwise I lose the So it's like another moment where like you're using the puppet as sort of like an intermediary to get to that kid to help talk with that kid. Vocal exploration, puppets are great for that. There are so many fun, even if you don't want to buy like a full-size puppet, the finger puppets are really great, easy to do that. If you want to like, vocal exploration is a great example. The birds are great to go like, to go like that. You can have a frog jump around. You can have the butterfly float slowly through. And that's fun to be able to use that if you're doing like vocal exploration. The one thing I would say about finger puppets that makes them a lot easier is if you take a mallet and put the finger puppet on the end of a mallet. Like if you have kids who are germy and gross and you don't want to throw the finger puppet in the wash or whatever, you put it on the mallet and you have kids transfer back and forth the mallet to the mallet. You can wipe down the mallet with a Lysol wipe and that cleans it off. And you don't have to worry about, grubby fingers getting into the inside of your puppet. So that makes it a lot easier. It also, the transition time of a kid going, okay, let me take this out. And the next kid being like, how do I do that? Like to try and get the puppet on, it takes a super long time. So the puppet on a mallet is really, really simple and easy. You could just try and use like a drumstick or something, but the mallet inside sort of keeps that puppet in place. Makes it really easy to switch. They're great for acting out stories. They're great for giving insider information. There's a song, Farmer Brown had a cow, had a cow, had a cow. She got sick, I don't know how. All she said was moo. And so I have a cow that acts out getting sick and being sad. And then other animals try to come and console the cow. And so I maybe have puppets for each character. It's fine, not a problem. But the puppets, they interact. It's fun to tell that story. You could have a kid bring in the puppet. You could bring in the puppet. It's whatever you want to do. And if you're like, I like this idea, but puppets are expensive, or I don't want to get so many, get a few at a time. Get like that one that you can use for everything. For me, that's Peter. I used him for everything all the time for the first couple of years. I slowly added more at a time. Another thing I would suggest is get Beanie Babies. They're like sort of everywhere. Goodwills, thrift stores, maybe your kid's closet or whatever. You can get a bunch of those, or you can have those donated and they can sort of stand in place. They're not as interactive, but like if you want the kids to hold and use them, it's great to have Beanie Babies and things around because those are a great example of something that a kid can manipulate and move, even if they're not just putting their hand in or around the puppet. And one last trick, these CD spools, like, do you remember when we used to burn CDs? Do you remember that? These spools are great for like sitting your puppet on. So like the puppet can there, and then they'll sit up on your shelf. And it's like, I mean, these are free. they're really easy to have around. So if you still have these around, save them. I also know people who will take like paper towel holders, or they'll make a little makeshift version of whatever that let the puppet sit up. My father-in-law made like a custom, like it's like a tree that like the puppets can go on. That's super cool. But you can also find shoe organizers. Like if you like a 30 shoe organizer, it's just like a straight metal pole with like little places where you'd like put shoes on to save space. puppets fit on those really easily. So that's a fun place to also display puppets if you want and keep them all in one place. I actually, for my finger puppets, have they make a little thing for people who sew that like keeps your thread all in one place, like on a, like it looks like stadium seating for your little thread spools. But I put my finger puppets there and it looks like a little stadium full of little puppets to like watch the lessons. It's hilarious. Anyway, there are a lot of fun DIY ways to like display the puppets, keep the puppets. And the cool thing about puppets is if you're worried about germs, you can, for the most part, throw them in the dryer for a little while, let that heat sort of clean anything off, and then bring them back out. I don't think I've ever thrown a puppet in the washing machine. I know you can, but I'm okay with putting them in the dryer. It usually kills a bunch of the germs and then doesn't really damage the puppet. Okay, I'm almost out of time. Questions, thoughts, ideas, anything you want me to expound upon? Because I could keep talking about puppets. I have more. I have so many more puppets. I have basset hounds, so I have a basset hound. I have a lesson about a narwhal, so I have a narwhal. I mean, like, you can go forever and ever and ever and talk about puppets. Lorianne, what's your question?
Hi, that was fantastic. I'm just wondering, so you're generally using the puppets with K to 2, is that right?
Generally, but
Okay.
my 3, 4, and 5 will ask about them.
Oh,
They'll
really?
ask,
Okay.
and yeah, especially, okay, I have a couple puppets, Shelly the crab, and there are a couple others that they will ask about because they are very sassy. I also have one where like Mozart pops out of a piano and there's a little Mozart puppet and he teaches them about Mozart. He's like, let me tell you about my life when I lived in Salzburg or whatever. And I have a really bad accent. But anyway, so like they think it's hilarious. And I have friends who like teach in my building who their 4th graders like, I really hope he uses puppets again because they're very fun. It's not the same. It's not like the puppet's like, let me echo sing it for you. But the puppet is like they're narrating or bringing in an element that like they are still there for, especially if the puppet is sassy. So like Mozart's a great example because the kids are like, why do you have a bow in your hair? And Mozart's like, what are you talking about? Bows are the highest fashion. This was the things that everyone wanted, a white wig and a bow. And so like the puppet is like sassing back at them in ways that I can't, and they're here for it. So like, yes, generally I stick with K1 and 2, but I still use them for older grades for different things, and it is usually very fun. Again,
Awesome.
it takes buy-in from you, acting like the puppet is real, but kids will take you there. I had a kindergartner who once was like, Mr. Rao, is Snowy real? And I was like, well, you know how Snowy only moves when I touch her? Mm-hmm. And she only makes sounds when I'm holding her? Mm-hmm. So do you think that maybe she isn't real? He's like, not real? I'm like, mm-hmm. But like, and then there'll also be moments where, we'll say like, someone will say, that's not an, or, that's not a real dog. That's a puppet. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I know that. And you know that, but Milo doesn't know that. So don't tell him. Don't tell him. We know that, but don't say it. Don't want to surprise him. Right. So there are a lot of moments where like you and I are in on the joke, but the puppet doesn't know. It just takes a little getting used to, but kids will for the most part follow you there if you want.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. In the previous session, I said I have an Amazon page that has all my favorite books and stuff. I also have one for puppets. It doesn't have all the puppets, but it does have some of those puppet accessories. So if you're like, what are you talking about? The shoe rack or whatever, that's there. So if you find it, you can see sort of like, oh, I can imagine a puppet would fit on whatever, or there's some of those things too. But please email me and ask me about puppets because I would love to talk more about them. But we're out of time. So if you do have questions, you're like, hey, what's your favorite this? Or can you help me find one of these? Or what do you think about blah, blah, blah? Or is this a good price? I found it on eBay. Please just email me. I'm happy to talk anytime about anything puppet related and help you more with that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, David, for a wonderful session. I know people are still commenting in the chat on their puppets. So many good ideas for expanding your puppet repertoire, I guess. And so thank you very much for that. I'm going to stop this recording really quickly, and then I'm going to share my screen. A reminder to everybody to just